Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Corinne Cornish and I'm creating this video as part of the Inshala festival, which was originally planned for the weekend of August 7th to 10th, 2020, and now being streamed online this weekend, June 26th to 28th. This video will also be presented on my YouTube channel, The Inner Realms, to be watched later or again. So, I would generally be offering this workshop outside in the grass next to the trees early Saturday afternoon in the beautiful prairie forest of Fort Macleod in Alberta in Canada. So I've been a part of the organizing committee of Inshala for the last 11 of the 12 years, and I would have never imagined that we would be putting this festival online this year. So thank you for tuning in. Hang in there as we'll be here together for about an hour or so. For those of you who are new to Inshala, it's an all-ages conscious festival offering such great music, amazing workshops, and really beautiful lighthearted vibes as we gather as a family of about 400 people in a big campout along the Old Man River. This year's theme was created in autumn of last year, called The Unknown. Not having any idea of what was ahead, or did we? So, sounds like a precognition or foreshadowing moment to me, really, right? Which is really a great segue to the title of this video, The Unknown to the Known, which really implies unknown, but I'm going to propose really known, which we'll get into. So if you don't know me, I am an energetic practitioner, formerly trained with a Bachelor of Education. Yes, teacher at heart. And I'm a Reiki master, clinical hypnotherapist, and a conscious connected breathwork facilitator. I've had a private practice for the last 13 years, working with individuals who are in their own process of awakening and looking for clarity on their path. So today, in the unknown to the known, I'm going to offer a read on the energetics globally, individually, and then share some impressions on what I see surfacing and the direction of where I see us going from my perspective. And so this is important. I share from my perspective, and I wholeheartedly honor your point of view and your truth. I interpret in the moment, which is constantly changing. So please, if you don't agree with something that I say, or it's triggering for you in some way, or it just doesn't feel right for you, just acknowledge your truth, and I invite you just to let it go. So no need for reaction, and I thank you for that. So let's dig into this theme of the unknown. This speaks directly not only to our current situation, but also is to the question of where is this reality potentially all going? And as I often reflect upon, let's start globally at the macro level with what is being revealed to us on the surface of the planet right now. So the framework of our reality, the structure that has allegedly been supporting us financially, economically, politically, socially, medically, environmentally, mentally, emotionally, physically, etc., have become more and more unstable over the years. And for those who are tuned in, I'm going to suggest this has really been unknown for us. So with this, for those of you, and I believe there are many of you, otherwise you most likely wouldn't be drawn to this chit chat, those of you who are intuitive, empathic, sensitive to energy, did you not know in the last few months or for some years that something was in the air, and the tension was tangible and it was rising globally, and most likely really felt in many people's personal lives, like my own. So Noticeably, for the last 5-ish years in the workshops that I've presented, I've been asking people with a show of hands, who's experienced significant shifts in their lives? Statistically, 90 at least plus % of people all raise their hands every time this was asked. So this leads me to the suggestion that the theme of the unknown is really subconsciously or unconsciously the known. Did we on some level know that the pressure was becoming more and more intense? That something was not only ahead of us, but within us to shift? I knew on some level, and I know that many people around me knew, and we didn't expect, though, a shift like this to come in this form. But here it is. So I'm going to propose that the known within is the solution. However, it's up to us individually to become more aware and conscious and collectively put this into action. All right. So particularly as there are global narratives and media truths and false news agendas and conspiracy theories versus universal truths of peace and cooperation and acceptance, unity, equity, and all circulating, which is creating a titanic tug of war in our psyche and society. So for years I've talked about this in presentations, and we could, as I mentioned before, we could sense this happening around us. And now what we're potentially seeing is it really the dismantling of these systems? I'm so curious to see what's going to happen. Perhaps not in the way we expected, but maybe here it is. So for those of you who tune into alternate points of view and you recognize that knowledge is power and power is information, which is disseminated through our media, through our entertainment, through our education systems, through our religions, etc. And then, of course, filtered through our belief systems. And yes, all have done a very good job at creating a framework of prescribed, and I use that word intentionally, prescribed reality around us. So it feels like many of us are wondering, particularly for me as well, what is reality right now? And this reminds me of The Truman Show. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And also the Matrix trilogy, watch them. And they both reflect realities that existed for alternate purposes and agendas. So we are finally starting to question the created structure, and I again specifically use these words intentionally, the created structure of this reality and what our roles have been within it. More than ever, with the speed of global communication, we're waking up to realize that something isn't quite right, something isn't quite connecting, and hasn't been for some time. And yeah, let's go into the unknown to the known. The known. Question mark on the exterior, I have no idea of what's true or real or reality anymore. And now, more than ever during this time, I'm inspired to delve even deeper and connect with my own truth, my sense of stability and peace. And I've been guided to observe these times with curiosity, really. And although we seem to be living in an unpredictable theatrical reality, I see a number of potential timelines existing at the moment, and we're the only ones who I feel are really in charge of navigating where this is going, and we're the ones who are controlling this direction. And now probably, maybe wouldn't be surprised if the dinosaurs returned. I don't embrace change, right? It's good to be prepared. So globally, we, by way of our internal choices, we have been a consenting player in this now seemingly dystopian reality because we're trusting, perhaps gullible, By nature, humans are born, I feel humans are born a kind race, perhaps easily deceived by intentions and that are unfortunately don't have humanity's future potential at heart. However, I believe that there have been systems in place that for centuries that capitalize and exploit our good nature. And what I see happening is that we are now waking up to this realization. And although I will add, I believe there's still some divisive agendas at play that potentially are still succeeding. So with that, why do I say that? Because when I see that people are still fearing and fighting and killing each other, we're still participating. We are a participant in this, like I mentioned, this dystopian timeline of keeping the people divided, which creates confusion and anger, not trusting each other. And this isn't our nature. And in my heart, I don't believe humanity to be this way. Why? Because although I'm not a parent, I've had the privilege to be at the birth of my fairy goddess daughter, now 5 years old, and to this day, these unnatural emotions and beliefs and behaviors, they aren't in her field. The youngest children know they are our benchmark, and we need to revere and remember their curiosity and wonderment for being alive to help us wake up and remember that within our lives. It's time to remember and to collectively wake up to our own inner nature and take a stand for that action of peace. What is it that we're taking a stand for right now? Taking a stand for peace, taking a stand for unity and consciousness. It's so crucial that we channel our energy for what we do want and not fight for what we don't want. And any form of resistance adds to the cause. We as a collective, we choose our timelines based on our own focus of our own energetic intention. It's time. It's time for each of us to take control and be reunited with the power within us that we've admittedly let go of. I love this quote that I continue to share and still carries so much truth. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix. It's time to get clear, friends. Oh, BTW, until we figure this out, we are the only ones to save ourselves. Our interstellar and interdimensional benevolent friends and family are patiently waiting to celebrate with us. Only we can set ourselves free. Not our governments, not our religions, not our relationships, not our family, not other people, not other self-help books, not stimulants. When we become free, we feel lighter. We know this when we let things go. And this is then reflected to others, especially those around us. And this reflection of ourselves then offers them the choice to set themselves free. Not by misinterpreting your light and wanting it for themselves to fulfill them, but by making decisions for themselves. Everyone has this choice. Planetarily right now, let's look at information. Information is in question. Truth is in question. Facts are in question. And this has created confusion, resulting in instability, unsettledness, feeling out of control, not knowing who or what to trust, and ultimately a collective consciousness of fear. And when this takes place, people go into the space of the unknown. And the unknown, looking at it deeper, the unknown can't be seen. And that which can't be seen is in the dark. And that which is in the dark is not in the light. And this has led us to an extreme polarization within people that have affected our thoughts, our intelligence, our wellness, and ultimately the state of our consciousness. And this reality, this is the reality that we have been putting our trust and faith in to take care of us. Let's get clear. Only we can set ourselves free. And this is a classic and a relevant quote. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Martin Luther King Jr. Interestingly, as we see a dismantling of these systems that we've been living in, and even in ourselves, as I've spoken to many people who are sharing that they're going through a much needed reevaluation of their lives, reassessing their values based on how they've utilized their time in the past, the quality of their relationships, their jobs, and more importantly, themselves, and really beginning to feel and see themselves in a different way. Shift is going on, and it's been for some time. What is going on the collective consciousness is a reflection of what we are personally experiencing, what we're unconsciously holding on to, emotionally feeling or suppressing, all purposefully needing to rise up in order to be seen and integrated and cleared. So with this, let's go into the individual perspective. You, me, and everyone on Earth, we exist in an energetic reality of duality or polarity. Highs, lows, joys, traumas to a lesser or greater extent, from love to lack of love. And we really call lack of love is fear. So what's becoming clearly evident right now is the extreme state of polarization, which is purposeful, really for us to be able to feel how divisive our thoughts and our beliefs have become and are affecting ourselves and others. For those of you who feel and hear the call to your own awakening and the evolution and expansion of your inner truth, to your consciousness, it's time to see ourselves clearly, to know ourselves clearly, to feel ourselves clearly, with the commitment to integrate all those parts of our separated emotions and coming back into ourselves, walking the path of the perceived unknown to the known of our inner truth. I feel this shift is meant to be happening at this time. It's pivotal. It's a crucial time of revealing, of transformation, and many people who are awakening to themselves at this time are the wayshowers, the beacons, the guides, the starseeds, as many of you feel that you are, the truthers. It's through our own commitment to ourselves and by walking our own talk, by being an example of personal integrity to ourselves and others, not in the ego and not in service to self mentality. And there's a big difference there, because we've seen and experienced where that has led us. But by being in our minds and our hearts and our intuition, in well-being to ourselves, in service to others. And this transition from service to self to service to others requires a personal revelation, like an inner flash to an inner light turning on, a recognition of truth of self, of the importance of really where we're moving to, which is unity consciousness, in order for this long-awaited inner paradigm shift to take place. So for some, what is required is a deep inner shakeup to loosen the grip from the programmed belief systems that we've been hanging on to and aren't serving us, which may come in the form of, let's say, a relationship breakup, a natural disaster, a death of a loved one, unfortunately, a pandemic, surprise, usually instigating a feeling of being out of control where the inner reality is forced out of its preconceived perceptions and patterns. So light can be seen in an alternate way. And so ultimately, the transformation to the unseen, to the seen, our blind spots coming into focus, our denial of self is being accepted into our awakening inner truth, let's say. And this is, at this time, this is really our own journey of revelation. And let's take a look at revelation. And what is revelation? Let's see how it's actually defined. And revelation is a surprisingly and previously unknown or secret information, revelation. And especially one that is made known in a dramatic way, the making known of something that was. There we have it again, the unknown to the known. Part of the unknown, which has dramatically risen to be seen and felt of late, are emotions. And the human race, very emotional beings, which is a beautiful aspect of us. However, after years of generations of not consciously integrating our emotions and by suppressing them to the point they become so far in the background and forgotten, they become normal and they become accepted as part of our identity, as part of our story, as part of our history, our herstory. And even further, they become these hidden programs or agendas in our own energy fields that unconsciously rise up when triggered. Then really what happens is that they create negative charges within us and within our bodies, and which for some actually makes them feel more alive. And not only because of the adrenaline rush, which happens in the chemistry of the body, but also these energies are being given attention and noticed. And it's a wild and unfortunately destructive cycle. And from my experience, in my deeper sessions with clients, I've spoken directly to these energies even of emotion or energies in motion, who, and I say who specifically, who are very real. They're tangible, they definitely have purpose, and sometimes very big personalities. And the intention really in helping and assisting these energies is to integrate them back into the heart of the client with intention, with attention, with acknowledgement, with understanding and acceptance, and really ultimately love. Because love and resistance of ourselves can't exist in the same moment. I'm going to repeat that. Because love and resistance of ourselves can't exist in the same moment. These fragmented parts of who we are do truly want to reconnect. We have just lost sight of their identity and origin, primarily because their purpose is to protect us and keep us from being hurt again. We fragment at a young age because love has been compromised and taken away. From the consciousness that we had at that time as a child, and this is a most hurtful experience, especially for a young human, and all of us, I feel we all share to some degree or another a collective trauma, which is the ultimate disconnection from love. And this is the lack of memory and separation from our source self that we carry with us, which has really impacted our self-value, our self-worth, and feeling of disempowerment, and all contributing to how we feel and view ourselves. I feel that there's nothing more important than how we feel about ourselves and our own self-perception within our hearts and not in our egos. So with these energies and emotions, especially lately, they seem to be coming from a reactive place of explosion and instead of a responsive state of understanding. And then it seems that we're enacting out of our unintegrated emotions of the neglected 3-year-old, let's say, or the hurt 10-year-old, or the angry teenager, or the anxious and fearful adult that had become tightly woven into unconscious triggered patterns within our energy field. I don't know, sound familiar? So if they're still being felt by the body, they are still very much alive, therefore affecting your present reality, desperately desiring to be reconnected. And the invitation is to listen to your body, feel your emotions, and even directly ask the emotion, what is it that you're reacting to? What do you need from me? What is the 3-year-old, the 10-year-old, the teenager, your present self asking of you? Be courageous and go into your own consciousness to ask and listen. Also be extremely aware of how potentially your attachment to your own self-serving story, which you'll need awareness on, may be limiting your potential for progress. And so travel within from the unknown to the known. And we individually are that change that will ultimately change the collective consciousness. And people are currently asking, what can I do and how can I help? And looking to change the outside and looking to change the exterior first. And this is crucial that we get this 180-degree turn around on this perception. We're not responsible to change the world or others. The only person we're responsible to change is ourselves. Change happens from the inside out. And when we witness different points of view and at different levels, let's just take a moment and offer our response from a space of curiosity. And really, because we are the only ones responsible for how we feel and the only ones who can control our own feelings and our own actions. Eckhart Tolle says, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but by your thoughts about it. Such wise words at this time, especially. The suggestion of going inside may not sit well with everyone and may feel uncomfortable because the integration of suppressed or blocked emotions doesn't sound like a happy adventure, and some aren't willing or ready to face this, and that's okay. And not everyone is called to integrate at this time, and that becomes a choice I feel that everyone will face at one point in the evolution of their self. However, what's important to remember in asking ourselves, how has it been working for us to carry around these unintegrated emotions with us? And how do they affect us on a daily basis? And how do they affect others? And are we even aware of this? So one of the symptoms of this individually and collectively is to externally blame the outside world for our unresolved inner conflicts. Let's look at this. Conflict defined as to be a serious disagreement or argument. Okay, let's define argument. Argument is an exchange of diverging or opposing views. Okay, sounds familiar to me, especially on the exterior and what's going on globally at this time. You may even find that familiar within you in your own personal reality. So let's take a look at this. Therefore, let's translate this. As a result of our unintegrated suppressed emotions and attachment to our beliefs, this has resulted in an internal state of conflict between the voice of our conditioned beliefs and the voice of our truth and authentic self. And if this hasn't been resolved, then what may happen is we tend to blame others for our own lack of integration. Yeah, I just invite you to noodle on that one for a little bit. That's a big one. Okay. even further. Remember earlier when I mentioned the Titanic tug of war? So, where is our current global conflict arising from? Bingo! Our individual unresolved internal conflict. As below, so above. Just saying. And remembering this is just my energetic philosophical opinion here. Take it or leave it. Okay. If you're still with me, let's continue. This is a socially accepted deep program within our collective psyche. The external state is responsible for our internal state. And we even express it through our language. And when it comes through the language, that really is an indicator to me that we've grounded it into our psyche and much of our collective acceptance. He makes me crazy. She makes me angry. And it's so much easier to project and dissolve our own responsibility to those outside of us, instead of taking responsibility for our own emotions, our own responsibility in our reaction within that, and taking responsibility for our own sense of calm and our own sense of peace, our own happiness and well-being. And how do we get to that space? That's our journey. Words spell. They initiate energetic spells. Voice transmit these spells. And when we become tuned into the frequency of our own language, we begin to understand the immense and powerfully suggestive, yes, hypnotic, influencing effect it's had in shaping our reality. There's even talk of us living in a prison state or slave society. I know, here I go, hold on. Okay, stretch, is this not a mirror image of the prison that we hold ourselves in within our own limiting thoughts? I know, this is a big one to contemplate and digest, and I know this is so psycho-spiritual paradigm, but that's what I'm suggesting for us to wake up to. So imagine when we were all free from our own self-imposed limitations and have freed ourselves, no longer in agreement with ourselves, to internally exist within the paradigm of our self-imposed shackles. Let's start now and listen and feel the truth of our hearts from a place of unity consciousness in a clear way. Because as long as we continue to internally agree to disempower ourselves and deny our own truth, mostly unknowingly, we've made the agreement to give the exterior organizations, powers that we made be, the permission to manage, direct, and control our lives. Then we get angry and we say that they're tyrannical and they don't listen and they're self-serving. When we stop suppressing and repressing who we are, we stop giving permission for this to happen to us. I know, yes, controversial and potentially challenging to accept, because as humans, we have comfortably denied ourselves the opportunity to take our power back and take control of the creation that we are. We are in the driver's seat in these beautiful, organic, conscious biofeedback earth vessels that we travel in. It's time to call ourselves back. It's time to bring the power of ourselves back and be free. It's our choice. And even deeper, if we want to create fundamental, systematic change, freeing ourselves from our own judgment, our own belief in our own lack, which creates inner and further conflict and frustration. This is a monumental, it's a huge shift of a paradigm that's extremely necessary. And oh yes, I know we have learned judgment, and it's been imposed and modeled to us at a young age, which then becomes normal. And what is normal becomes comfortable. And when humans are comfortable, ooh, we resist change. So the attempt to go from lifelong conditioned judgment and transcend to acceptance, ooh, that's a huge jump. It's a big chasm, and really potentially becomes a neurological train wreck, because that's not the known pathway. However, it is time for us who are called to our own awakening and our own consciousness. It is time to take responsibility for who we are and how we show up and how we react or how we respond. What matters to us will or won't set us free. Again, what matters to us will or won't set us free. So if we don't want to see judgment in the world with race and gender and profession, etc., then we choose to become aware of our words and our thoughts and our beliefs that we're engaging in every second that we generate this. Here are some questions for you. And you can be honest. No one's hearing, no one can hear, and no one's listening. All right, here we go. Number 1. Who judged you as a child or a young person? Who judged you as a child or a young person? Number 2, in what ways do you judge yourself? Number 3, radical honesty here. How do you judge others? How and in what ways do you judge others? Number 4, what lies beyond judgment within you? What's on the other side of judgment? If you didn't feel judgment, what would you feel? I'm going to jump into this with you on this one. Feeling of acceptance, allowing, loving, understanding, unity, celebration, cooperation, collaboration, and more specifically, self-acceptance, self-value, self-allowance, self-appreciation, self-acknowledgement, self-love, integrating and celebrating all that you are. Let's choose to transcend judgment within ourselves. Just start there. Because as we choose to transcend judgment, we transcend the experience of being judged. And when we're free and calm on the inside to respond, then we're able to show up in our communities this way. And it's time to wake up to ourselves, to what's really already waiting for us inside. It's already there. It's never left us. We're just asking ourselves to get out of our own ways. We're asking ourselves to take responsibility for our own words and actions that affect ourselves and others. And it's time. It's time to get radically honest with ourselves and stop hiding from ourselves. And the more we see of ourselves, the clearer we get. And the clearer we get, the more we see of ourselves. And imagine if everyone was in this place, everywhere, regardless of our beliefs, and regardless of our religions, and regardless of our heritage and our ethnicity. I love these quotes by Krishnamurti, who was an Indian philosopher, a speaker, and a writer, and helped to introduce Eastern teachings on the nature of mind to the West. The highest form of human intelligence is to observe yourself without judgment. How are we supposed to treat others? There are no others. Expansion is a choice. Freedom is a choice. Inner peace is a choice. And the only ones in our way are ourselves. No external force can keep us from ourselves. So important. Our inner truth and spirit are untouchable. However, if we're not in touch with these universal truths that are ever present within us, it may appear and it may feel otherwise. And the only reality we exist in and have control over is our own. And I've said this and I keep repeating it. And this is the most monumental paradigm shift a person can truly understand and accept within themselves. Clear toxic thoughts, clear the pollution in the air, clear our hearts, clear the conflict within our own personal, interpersonal relationship and those of others. Clear our bodies, clear the earth. As above, so below. Law of correspondence. And I highly recommend the Kabbalion, the 7 Hermetic Principles, which is free online as a PDF. I found this 2016 Q&A article in The Fix with Gabor Mate with a question that's relevant to this discussion, with which I'd like to read. If you don't know Gabor Mate, he's a Hungarian-born Canadian physician. He has a background in family practice, and he has an interest in childhood development and trauma, and what the impacts on this has on physical and mental health. So, the question is, with such an array of social and biological factors affecting us, how can we ever find the right formula for long-term health and happiness? What do you recommend for your patients? Gabor Mate's answer. What I recommend is consciousness. People have to be aware of where the behaviors come from, what stressors they've taken on, what stressors they continue to take on, which of these stressors are avoidable, which of those stressors are not avoidable. And you just have to listen to them and adjust to them. But they have to do so consciously. In a society that stresses people so much, there are no individual answers. They have to create conditions in their personal lives that, as much as possible, counteract the stressors that are caused by the society that they are lived in. And they need to be conscious and aware in order to do this. This is what I would recommend. Those of you who have heard the call from within will have been drawn to the path of consciousness. Let's take a look at this definition of consciousness, being the state of being awake and aware of one's surrounding. This path of awareness is within you. And it's found in no one else, because you are unique to you. As a result of your own personal experiences, you are the only one who has your answers within you. You have the map to yourself. And along the way in your life, there have been signposts given to you as to clues of your path in who you are and your passions. And if you're not aware of them, ask yourself to remind you, and they'll appear. Allow yourself to see you fully. Allow yourself to feel you fully. Allow yourself to share yourself fully. Allow yourself to receive from yourself fully. Transformation is sparked by you. From the unknown within to the known within. The only way out is in. In moving forward, this journey may bring up some uncomfortable feelings, and resistance and fear may arise. In the last 4 months, I've observed the unconscious surfacing of fear, as well as the spread of it, as if we're all comrades in the same battle, and fear of the unknown and hoarding paper products in an attempt to be in control of a seemingly uncontrollable situation, fear of what we can't see, and fear of dying, and fear of unknowingly or knowingly harming others, to wear or not to wear a mask. Fear is inherent in this reality, and to a lesser or more degree, when we speak or take actions from a place of reaction without thought, typically from unconscious patterning, the results can often be unpredictable and chaotic and unsettling, as our emotions can supersede our intelligence. And when we take a breath and choose to take a second longer and respond instead of react from a place of calm and trust, we most often choose a path of least resistance. Our choice, an unconscious or conscious outcome. This appeared recently from a person I follow, Magenta Pixie, who speaks to this. React not to your outer reality, but instead observe. Allow the reactionary process to occur in response only to your inner reality, which is a creation of your own making. A message from the 9. If you know change is required, but you can't see a way out, please listen to your truth. It's essential. And please talk to someone you trust, who you feel can offer you a balanced and constructive perspective. And continue to move in the direction of your knowing and your truth. You and everyone is deserving to have a choice. And you and your life are extremely valuable to this earth. Please know that. If you feel or sense that you are enabling or defending someone's actions that limits you or your family in a way that you know deep down isn't right in your heart, please be honest with yourself, and please have the courage to step into your power and make any necessary changes so you are living your truth. Your truth is your light. And if you don't have the ability to make this change, please take some action. Please ask for assistance. And please find someone that you can confide in. And if you are ready to be part of this change and transform from your inner unknown of disempowerment and separation to transform you to the known of empowerment and connection, let the body speak and allow feelings of fear and anxiety and anger and frustration to speak to you. Feel them and become aware of them when they surface. And if these feelings are familiar to you, then you are consciously letting you know that there is an opportunity for the integration of these emotions to take place. We draw our reality towards us based on what we're transmitting out and by how we're reacting or responding. And when we become aware of this, when we become conscious of this, then we choose wisely. What is our focus? What are we drawing to ourselves within our thoughts, within our beliefs, the emotions that we feel? This can most often be seen as evidence as the state of our current reality and what our life is looking like and feeling like. It's time that we choose to make this conscious move to follow our potential. Let's elevate ourselves out of our limiting beliefs. How? connect into our truth. This is our own doorway to our own freedom of being. Let's dig even deeper into the self and speak on recognition. What does recognition mean? To identify someone from having encountered them before, to know again. So, what is this asking of you personally? Identify the you that you know you already are, the unknown to the known. So, with this, let's move forward with the heart, which is courage, and allow ourselves to take time and see ourselves and praise ourselves and love our bodies and congratulate our digestive system for moving well and thank our feet for the pressure that they withstand as we move upon this earth. And love our talents and love our gifts. And it's nice and so lovely to receive acknowledgement from others. However, when we receive it from ourselves, what we're really saying is that we're receiving it from the love that we know ourselves to be. And when you know and feel that to be you, then you are truly fulfilled from within. On the note of gifts, when we can see our past, inclusive of all of our experiences, joys, sorrows, challenges, people, situations, with the understanding of how we've grown and expanded further, become knowledgeable, we then release any charge from our bodies and our minds. And we walk in lightness, not weightedness, no baggage. We have this choice. We can be a victim to our trauma or stories, and we can use it to self-identify through, or we can move forward as we received it as a gift of an insight. Believe me, I've had a number of experiences that have been absolutely unimaginable and surreal in my life. And through accepting and deep reflection, I've been able to turn them into incredible gems of insight, helping me move forward, which I'm now at peace with. And I don't carry emotional baggage with them. And in fact, they've left me with unexpected miracles. Sometimes the best reflection is experiencing that which we don't want, which then allows us to move forward with that knowledge. Let's allow our past to be held in light and not baggage that we carry around behind us, or in some cases throw at others in reaction. We've all been there. There will come a time, I believe, in everyone's life, and I've mentioned this before, where we will be asked to choose between taking action that's rooted in love or maintain our own fear, choosing to walk a path feeling light or feeling heavy, being in truth of who we are or in denial and suppression of who we are. This is a choice. And this will become a choice. And just a side note here, and although this will become a choice, and choice involves two or more options, I do believe at one point this choice will become a decision, and this decision will be rooted in one. And it will be rooted in the heart. And it will be rooted in love, because there will be no more choices, because we won't see any other choice other than the decision of love. So when moving forward, why I get all emotional? In moving forward, what can we do? What can we do? Let's recognize that we're in a crucial time of change and shift. Accept change and let's not fear it. And the real virus that we carry around globally and personally, it's the fear. It's the darkness. It's those places where we haven't looked at within ourselves. Let's be courageous within ourselves. Let's stop. Let's take a breath. Let's listen. Let's go within. Let's ask ourselves what really matters in all of that. And what really matters for us and what we're focusing on. And let's wake up. And this might not appeal to everyone, and again, that's okay. And for those of us who know they're on their own awakening path, what does this mean? That you're a transmitter. And imagine every feeling that you have is transmitted to everyone on the planet. Imagine that for a moment. All right? Then we really become aware of our own emotions, and we become our own gurus. And if we need that assistance, let's get assistance from someone who we trust to help us and guide us in taking back our control and our power, which is essential, so essential to come back into that power of love, of self, and be the eye of the storm, which is that calm place, that centered place. Don't be the storm. That's not helpful. That's not emotional maturity. Be in control of the emotions and the intelligence that we have to channel our energy into unity and not separation. And these are images of Hurricane Dorian, which was an extremely powerful Category 5 Atlantic hurricane that became the most intense tropical cyclone on record to hit the Bahamas in the fall of 2019. And you can see the eye of the storm. Be the eye of the storm. Stand in your own power. Get clear on your own truth. Be the joy that you are. And take a breath and expand that out. And for the sake of your mental and physical and emotional and spiritual immunity, be your own truth. Be your own light. And don't choose any sides before you choose you. Regardless of what the media, your partner, your family, your parents, your neighbors, whoever says, don't allow anyone else's opinion, their belief, their perspective to sway you away from your center. And in the daytime, do energy check-ins during the day. What and where are you investing your energy into, and what attention are you giving yourself to, and what thoughts are being projected to yourself and others? And remember, when we use external issues to charge our own internal unresolved issues of frustration and anger, it adds to the explosive global issues. Our thoughts and our words become weapons. They are spells. And imagine, let's go into the world of imagination. Imagine the world you know is available for yourself personally, your own truth, your own potential. And in the greater world, imagine what is available, potential to the greater external world. And before you go to bed, or just before you wake up, feel this, sense your potential really vividly. Make it real. And create this world within you, within your body, within your mind. And in the daytime, doodle this, draw it, sing it, paint it, blog it, vlog it, share it with your children, your family, your friends. Let's make this go viral. Let's make the potential of the best ever. Let's spread that. And within ourselves, let's embrace the unknown to reveal the known. adopting the ancient Greek teaching of know thyself. We don't have time to be distracted on anything other than ourselves. And the focus is our own self-realization. Let's allow this, because it's already there waiting for us. It's already there. And let's get out of our own way and feel this. And let's stop denying and hiding from ourselves and share who we are and allow ourselves to be seen. Embrace and accept our own power and light. So what are you doing this summer? Celebrating you, as I celebrate you. I'd like to come to a close here with this message by the 9 through Magenta Pixie. It's going to read this to you. It is true unity you are looking for. Those with healed and unintegrated ancestral memories are able to rise above the strategies and plots for division of physical presence and division of heart and mind. For the soul self can never be divided or separated. You are one soul, and only when you look at your brother and sister with the knowing that they are you, regardless of color, creed, race, or gender expression, through unconditional love, then your world will know true unity. Start with yourself. Even if the rest of the world may recoil from one another in fear, you stand in love for yourself, your brothers, and your sisters. Live by this code. Live by this example. And know that you living by this shall create a ripple that shall flow throughout time and space until the day shall come where you all stand in that knowing. This is the law of one, and this law can never be and shall never be broken. The 9, Magenta Pixie. And as a final note, as Kylie Dawn would say, let's live our dreams awake. Thank you so much for your full attention. If you are still here with me, much appreciation. I appreciate you and honor you on your path wherever you are. I think this video will be posted on inshala.ca as well as my YouTube channel, The Inner Realms. If you'd like to find me on my website, theinnerrealms.com, here you'll find my private practice. So much love to you. And until we meet again.